Hello, I'm Margot Mecca. I'm a programmer of Festival dei Popoli, and today we are going to interview Stefan Kruse about his film A Lack of Clarity that is in competition in the short films competition of the 2020 edition of Festival dei Popoli. Hello, Stefan.
Hello.
And you are talking from Köln.
Yeah, from Köln, yeah, in Germany, West Germany. Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So, just to start, in a lack of clarity, your film, you create an essay on the status of the image in the society of surveillance, exploring the gradual expansion of the field of the visible and the controllable. In this film, like in your previous short, The Migrating Image, that was in competition at Festival dei Popoli 2 years ago, you use footage found on the web and you interpret it in a critical way. I would like to know more about your creative process. Do you start from images that capture your attention and catalyze your reflection, or is it your theoretical research, the trigger that pushes you to look for images online?
Yeah, so I think beginning in both projects, beginning for me at least, was a kind of diving into research and into specific theory and combining that with looking for images. In this case, with a lack of clarity, I was actually searching for different. I had the idea to make a different kind of film about border surveillance and how borders are basically what are the images that come out of these border surveillance cameras, and and of course going through researching for that. I also, I came across many companies that produce these specific long-range military cameras, and yeah, throughout that process, all of a sudden I stumbled upon this American company that is based in Las Vegas, or in Nevada, Las Vegas, and the images from there just immediately was very interesting to me. I wanted, and that made me change gear and to research this specific company and to find out, like, what is it that I'm looking at here. And I think initially that was what sparked my interest was the contrast of the activities taking place and the landscape in the images compared to which camera was recording and surveilling these instances. So the contrast was already like super evident. Like I was like, wow, this is super interesting. But also aesthetically, there was something almost filmic about this material, like as if the camera operator was narrating his own film. Like there was this ongoing pattern in the clips of, like, first finding the focus and then finding the right image or the right characters, like always looking for human activity. And so it was both, like this strict surveillance, like camera always searching, but also something very scenic about it that I found interesting.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And my second question is starts from the title of your film. The title of your film, Lack of Clarity, plays with this contradiction between lighting and difficulty to see. What is, according to you, this lack of clarity? Because the image of control that you question in your film implies a total visibility, with no difference between day and night, inside and outside. This reminded me of Georges Didier Huberman's essay on Pasolini, where he said that Pasolini's fireflies disappeared not because they faded, but because of the blinding brightness of a postmodern world that made them impossible to recognize. So, how do you consider this relationship between clarity and vision, and how is it related to cinema, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that light and the lack of clarity that the title refers to is for me personally, it has several meanings. Like first of all, there's also the physical camera and what it's the constant search for focusing in the camera was this, there was this blurriness to the images, like the contrast between like super blurred and super sharp. And to me, the lack of clarity that I refer to is also somehow related to what's taking place in the images. What's the activity? What is the meaning of what does it mean, the activities in Las Vegas, and what is like the location itself is a kind of end station for modern capitalism in a way, or like the last place where or not the last place, but like the most extreme place for entertainment and for like staying in this like it's the opposite of like daily routine. Like there's this saying like what happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas, and that is, I guess, on the surface and with all the lights you see, like there's a kind of joy to the place, but also in another reality, like Las Vegas is one of the most surveilled places in the world, and so everything that happens in Las Vegas literally stays on the tapes in Las Vegas. And yeah, and I think this blindness and this light that I'm also talking, it's very relatable to the Pasolini passage that you talk about. And I wanted to somehow talk about this blindness and this confusion. Like lack of clarity can also refer to a sort of confusion, like in new like pop psychology. If you talk about lack of clarity, it's because you're stuck in your ways, like in your you can't see, like you can't see your final destination. You're kind of stuck psychologically. And in the like in like Jura language, like it always refers to like text that is really hard to deconstruct or to analyze. And so the title refers to both, I think, a kind of personal thing I was going through making the film, but also what I see in the characters, but also the intention of recording these clips, to the people that are completely aware of it. Yeah.
Also, it's really interesting what you're saying, because actually in the landscape of the we see in your film, actually everything is so clear and open to the eye that actually we don't understand what's going on. We don't understand who is in front of us, what they are really doing, if it's day or night. So actually this super visibility ends up in a total confusion of what we are seeing, what is the real that this image represents. So I really appreciate that. I think that your film is really thought-provoking. It really opens to a lot of reflections and discussions too. And I think I will go for the last question.
Okay.
Last question. and it is more like related to what is going on nowadays. Because in the last months, due to the pandemic, we have seen an acceleration in the phenomena you question in your film. Control technologies expanded worldwide, surveillance became an even more visible part of our lives, temperature control was quickly normalized and socially accepted. So your work started months before the pandemic, but today, when we see a lack of clarity, it resonates in a particularly troubling way in this new normality. Do you think that the pandemic affected in some way your creative process? Or do you think there are any recent phenomena that caught your attention but you could not include in the film because it was happening at the same time?
Yeah, COVID hit, I think, when I was in the last, I would say in the last third of the edit. And so the film was pretty much shaped, and then the narrative was also there. Like what I did in the end was, you see the text that was added to the film, and because surveillance, of course, was also a big thing before COVID, and all the measures that has followed with that. But I think what I was interested in, and also in the beginning of the film, was the connection between military industry, these private contractors, and then this the state military, and also government. Like interested in how this technology, starts from a kind of military research to develop some kind of tool or weapon that the military can use to, in my case, these cameras now that can measure temperature, and also with algorithmic technology, like the film states in the end of the film, like these companies are now really pushing that the police also acquire these means, and this particular situation, it has also escalated these kinds of transactions, and the normality of the police having these tools. Like also what happened during the edit was the killing of George Floyd in the States, all the mass protests, and how you see how militarized police is now just became so evident. And so even before all this hit, I was very interested in, even though it's in a subtle way in the film, it's not maybe super obvious, but just even the fact that these images are from a private contractor that delivers straight to the military was kind of I think was an interesting starting point for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so thank you, Stefan. It was really interesting to discuss the film with you, and thank you so much. And
Thank you.
see you soon,
See you
hopefully.
soon. Yeah.
Ciao.
Ciao.